You're tuned into the VSX Digital Sports Network.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Webb Report, and we are going over the opening lines for Major League Baseball on April the 1st. Today is March the 31st, and we're comparing what I had for a line versus what the actual line opened at on an offshore account at Bet Online. Las Vegas has not put out any numbers currently. So we already went through 5 games. Let's go through the next 5 games. These are games that start at 3 o'clock, and this is the Atlanta Braves against the Philadelphia Phillies, and this should be a pretty good game. This is a 3:05 start. This is Max Fried for the Braves and Aaron Nola for the Phillies. My line was the Atlanta Braves minus 100, and that implied probability was 50.01. The actual number came out at Atlanta minus 107. So again, that means that the Philadelphia Phillies are minus 103. There really is no underdog in this game. So again, we're looking at 7 basis points of a difference here. I don't think that there's value that way. We just have to see what the line does. And that's where we have a true number, and then we compare that true number to the market moves too. So, I don't really play into or affect what I do betting wise, what the market does. If the market bets with my wagers, great. If the market bets against my wagers, I don't worry about that. There's no reason for me to get involved in market analysis wagering because I'm handicapping the games. It's a big difference. If you're a handicapper, you're going to handicap and originate your own number. That's what I do. I don't worry about where the lines move. I'm not betting the market. Now, in a case like this game, where the number is basically minus 100, what if somebody comes out of the woodwork and lays down a bunch of money and say they would like Aaron Nola, and they think Aaron Nola is going to be the guy that is a future Cy Young winner, and he wants to put $25,000 on this game. And another guy comes in, and a bunch of people in Philadelphia decide that's what they want to do as well. Not that much money, but they want to bankroll on this game. So that can change the line, and then the line goes from, say, Atlanta minus 107 now to, say, Philadelphia minus 120. Okay, well, that's a pretty big move, and normally the lines wouldn't move that much, but just say that it happened, just use an extreme. If it was Philadelphia minus 120 and the line moved it that way, and we have a line of Atlanta minus 100, we have value now in Atlanta, and the price being paid on Philadelphia is the books protecting their side of the arrangement for taking the wagers. So I get all of those things, but I would be more apt to be looking at Atlanta in that case, not riding that wave, if you want to call it, the hotness of what the Philadelphia Phillies were bringing in on money. So I'm not really into the markets, even though I watch them. This is not point spread wagering, even though we can get into that kind of stuff later down on some of these other shows, because there is some cases where you'd want to do that. But in this particular case, we're just going to watch the number as it opens, and we're looking for value to get started. And this Atlanta-Philadelphia game shows none currently, but we have to watch the number. The next game is the Los Angeles Dodgers at the Colorado Rockies. This is kind of the best team in baseball against maybe the worst team in baseball. This game starts at 4:10. All these game times I'm giving you are Eastern Standard Times. This is Clayton Kershaw against Marquez from the Rockies. And my line was the Los Angeles Dodgers minus 222. That's a 68.95 implied probability. That's the largest one we've come across so far. And the opening line from Bet Online was the Dodgers minus 225. So we're within 3 percentage points here, basis points. So again, no value either way. It's pretty hard to bet a big favorite like that. And when you think about it, that's 69% of the time they're going to win that game. So that means 31% of the time they're not. So that doesn't mean you want to go out and wager the dog all the time either. But it does mean that you have to be real careful, and you really don't want to wager those minus 200s very often. The next game is the Arizona Diamondbacks against the San Diego Padres. Again, a 4:10 start. This is Madison Bumgarner going for Arizona, and this is against Yu Darvish for the San Diego Padres. My line was the San Diego Padres minus 292 at a 74.49 implied probability. That's the highest one that I have for today's games. And that line actually opened San Diego minus 215. Okay, so this is an interesting spot, right? So the line opened at 215, and I'm showing 295 or 292. That's a big variance. That's 80 points per se, pretty close, 80 basis points. That generates 80 basis points in the neighborhood. Well, it's roughly, so if you're 20 basis points, you're 3% edge to the good. So if you're 80, you're going to be looking at almost 10% to the good. That's a 10% EV positive wager. This is one of those spots where at 215, you're getting a good number. And 215 is a number that I would bet, because I'm getting value on the line at 292 is what I think it should be at. So as we go forward, we're looking for that value. And again, I get it, 200, people don't want to bet 200, but in this case, that's the right way to bet it. You want to bet the San Diego Padres minus 215 just on value. Now, if you study the number and study the game and you decide, okay, well, Madison Bumgarner beats the Padres and they don't have guys that hit him very well, and, whatever you think about the game that changes your mind, then, use that information to either support your wager or use that information to discredit your wager. But the idea here is that you're getting value at the 215 price for San Diego, and that's a good one. I would bet that. The next game is the St. Louis Cardinals at the Cincinnati Reds, and that is a 4:10 start, and that's Jack Flaherty going against Luis Castillo. My line was Cincinnati minus 119, which is 54.32% implied probability, and the actual line was Cincinnati minus 118. So we're 1 percentage point off. Again, no reason to go through all that stuff. We've gone through some of it with some of the other games, and there's no value there on one side or the other with the line. Now, one thing I will tell you is I do a lot more study on these games than just the line. The line is a great way to start off, and you want to get your implied values and get your EV plot positive numbers, and then you want to try to go support some of that with some of the other data and things you might look at. So just because I don't find a whole bunch of these games that are variants to my line doesn't mean I won't bet them based on the other information that I have. The next game is the Texas Rangers against the Kansas City Royals. This game starts at 4:10. This is Kirk Gibson for Texas, and he's going against Brad Keller for Kansas City. My line was Kansas City minus 114. That's 53.24% implied probability. And the line opened at Kansas City minus 152. Okay, so here's another big variance that we have. This one's 38 basis points. So that 38 basis points, though, is not for Kansas City. This is for the underdog in Texas. So 38 basis points gives you a roughly 4% edge on what we're looking at. That's an EV positive number that you want to wager on. So that puts us just in looking at wagers based off of EV positive numbers. We have one on here on the Texas Rangers. So Texas plus would be in the neighborhood of 135 or so. That's a good number to be looking at in this particular game. But you want to, again, look at the data, make sure that all matches up, make sure that your game plays out that way. All we're doing right now is just comparing odds and numbers. But we went through and we've got San Diego as a play, and now we have Texas as a play, as an underdog. And the next game here is the last one before we stop this segment. And this is the Tampa Bay Rays against the Miami Marlins. This is going to be the battle of the state of Florida. This game goes at 4:10. This is Tyler Glasnow against Sandy Alcantara. My line was Tampa Bay minus 150, and that's a 60% implied probability. And the actual line came out at minus 156. So again, nothing crazy there. No implied advantages, no EV positives, all that stuff. So we'll have to find other ways to bet these games. We're going to go over the night games. There's I think 4 night games left. And then we'll come back and wrap it all up.